Ladies and gentlemen, welcome once again to the Duval Dive. Of course, I am Kyle Nash, the student of the game of Fans First Sports Network.
And I'm Travis Holmes with BigCatCountry.com.
And we're doing this thing on the Believe Network. What a great time. By the way, Travis, before I get off the ground, we didn't rehearse this. I haven't told you about this yet, but it's pretty awesome. Of course, our guy, David Behrman, was on the Duval Dive last week. He had me stop in to do his show. You would have seen that on Tuesday, I believe, there on Betting with Behrman, by the way. I got the biggest compliment one can get from a bettor. No, he didn't just say, oh, you did a good job. Sure. I mean, Travis gets that all the time. I get that all the time, he said modestly. But he said he would take one of the bets I recommended on his show, Travis.
Oh.
So there's that. There's no bigger compliment than I want to find out what it was that you'll have to listen to his show. Boom, look at that. This is how we tease. Leave family in the building here. Let's do all that. But enough of this. We got a preseason game to talk about, man. And listen, I know we had a list of the things that we wanted to see, and I know that you are the guy that is way better at me than spotting certain things. Perhaps the lucky people out there amongst the Duval Divers will see us do a little show don't tell, and then we'll talk about what Travis wants to see to have a little bit more faith in his team coming up this weekend. So but what were the items for those who may not remember, Travis? What were the items we were looking for heading into this game this weekend?
So our biggest questions heading into the Pittsburgh game was the Jaguars need to make a move at defensive tackle. Were we going to get any clarity in the safety room on that safety position opposite of Eric Murray? Was the O-line going to be able to establish the run? Just taking a look at which running back was going to pull away from that third running back spot, but also even for that first running back spot between Travis Etienne and Tank Bixby. And last but not least, and I know we're going to want to talk about that one, were they going to be able to clean up on the flags? Those were our questions. We got some definitive answers. I don't know if we're going to like them all, but let's get into it.
Yeah, and I know we talked a little bit about the flag thing during the Duval Dive Live, the instant reaction we had. By the way, I mentioned that so y'all fools out there, if you don't know yet, know that we're going to do it again this weekend after the upcoming game. But Travis, let's go ahead. I think it's time to show, don't tell. Tell the people, show the people what it is you see, my friend.
Well, I mean, the first thing, before we get into the film, because I wanted to at least talk about these things. So let's first of all, first thing, a move at defensive tackle. I didn't personally think that the Jaguars the defensive tackle room played so badly that we just have to have a move with the knowledge that Eric Armstead and Mason Smith are eventually going to come back.
Yeah.
So from that perspective, I'm like, all right, I think that question, while it may still be up in the air, we don't have an answer. And I think, the guys like Austin Johnson, those guys like Devon Hamilton played moderately solid. Tyler Lacey, even they didn't get gashed in the ground as far as that's concerned. So I didn't know if you saw anything different.
Right. No, I didn't. I mean, and I remember last week when I advised prudence and all the panicry that we saw there out with the Duval Dive, and I get it. I'm not mad at it. It's preseason. We overblow everything, but I believe my prudence was very well placed as a warning. I ain't worried yet. We'll see who comes off scratch, who doesn't. I'll be worried if we don't see Mason Smith for game 3, but not until there.
No, that's fair. And as far as the safety room was concerned, I thought Dewey Wingard had a pretty good game. Like, as much as folks may give him smoke because they just have their feelings based on previous years and everything else, he had a great open field tackle on the open series of the game. He was the over-the-top safety in multiple, downs in that first 3 series overall. They forced 2 punts on the second and the third series. Like, I think he did reasonably well there. And he gave up no catches in coverage as far as that piece was concerned. I don't have any qualms as far as that's concerned, as long as he can be consistent with that. But until I see otherwise, I think it's Dewey's job to lose, unless we see Caleb Bransall finally, get healthy and be able to come out and just show us a little bit of something. But out of the guys who's there, it feels like it's Dewey's job, man. Again, did you have a different opinion there?
I too had no qualms. I wanted to use that word. That was a good drop by you. No, I too had no qualms with Dewey per se. He made a couple tackles I liked. I don't know if he was the deciding factor in those drives where they were back-to-back stopped. More on that later. But I do feel like he did what he was supposed to do, and I'll leave it at that. And of course, Carlos Reagan comes in the comments real quick. I think Jordan from Gin Jag said it best. Safety is a bunch of decent guys, just no one who is a plus starter. Yeah, I think
I think I agree with DeLugo on that. But at the end of the day, I tell people all the time, there's a lot of NFL teams out there with just average safety play, just
oh,
guys.
buddy.
Maybe even below guys. Like if you give me the Kansas City Chiefs safety core or the Buffalo Bills safety core, I think both of those are below average. At best case scenario, you could call them average, and I think it works just fine as long as emphasis on as long as you have defensive tackle play that's going to be top, maybe not top the elite, but definitely above average. And you have linebacker play that's going to be above average. I think you can get by with basic safety, with average safeties. But I don't know that the Jaguars have that. That's still up in the air. But I think it's at least possible to win games with that sort of a safety. So I agree with Jordan.
Yeah, safety struggles are a bit of a pandemic in in themselves here with the NFL. I mean, I remember asking now Hall of Fame. Well, he's currently Hall of Fame. Then Hall of Fame inductee Leroy Butler, the Green Bay Packer, when I covered that Hall of Fame class. You might remember this other dude on there, Baselli, that was part of that group, maybe. I don't know. Anyways, I was there. I asked him about it, or leading up to it, rather. I asked him about the state of the safety position and why it's hard to find dudes and why it's hard to get into the Hall of Fame as a safety. And he explained that you're the last line of defense. It's real easy to remember the bad and not always all of the good. And I also said, hey, during that call, I realized, well, it's a lot like offensive linemen. He's like, yeah. Anyways, I digress.
Yeah.
Shouts to Raphael Garcia. Or Raphael.
Yes, I think we I think we have an answer. Again, I don't know that folks are going to love the answer, but I think we have an answer as far as the safety room is concerned. I still think I think entering the game it belongs to Dewey. I think exiting the game it belongs to Dewey even more. Right. I do believe that the offensive line was able to establish the run. I know folks will look at ETN's 2 rushes and say, well, yeah, I think they should have been a little bit better there. Yeah, because he only had 2 rushes for, I believe it was 6 yards, 3 yards a rush. Meanwhile, Tank Bigsby averaged 4 yards a rush, and Bayshaw Tootin also averaged 4 yards per rush. But both of those guys were breaking tackles. Like they just looked different than ETN, who I thought also missed the hole on his second rush, a nice cutback lane. So it's weird because ETN did had the most explosive play in the passing game of all the backs. He had a 10-yard catch and run. So he has that going for him. It's not like there's no space in that running back room for him. So as far as which running back pulls away, I mean, Bayshaw Tootin looks like a hard man to take off that field, just with his ability to break tackles. And the O-line seemed to be able to open holes. I thought Wyatt Millen played well. I thought, Jonah Monheim played well, which I wasn't expecting to say walking into the game. I just being honest about it. That's no shade against him. I didn't have any expectations for Monheim. And then to see him playing at guard and actually being reasonably stout as far as his run blocking was concerned. His pass blocking was questionable. Like he's still one of those shielder guys who's going to turn guys and kind of give them a lane, but I think he got the job done, and I'm looking forward to seeing what he's going to do in this second, in this week 2 of the preseason. But I thought they did reasonably well to give you some confidence in the depth of that interior O-line.
Did love that jailbreak play by my guy LaQuint Allen, by the way. Got to bring that up, since we're talking running backs.
I mean, LaQuint Allen, bro. I mean, long time baller, first time boxer. That was a weird day at Tuesday training camp with that little sparring session that they had going on. So that was fun, but in addition to him being a violent and awesome running back in the NFL, he also, part-times as a guy who may want to, get into a little sparring session every now and then. I understand it. It's a violent sport. I get it. If you have a team that's not getting into fights in training camp, you probably have a bad team. Like, I'm just being real. Like
I've my quarterback back when I was playing semi-pro ball had that same attitude. It was only a matter. Hell, he was the guy that started the fight at least once.
Lord. All right. So you got one of them on your team. All right. Ain't nothing wrong with that, bro. And as the final comment, when we already touched on it, I think we touched on the multiple of the training camp practices. We touched on the Duval Dive live after the game. Miscues, cleaning up the flags, the drops, all of it just is. It's a problem. It was a problem entering the game. It's a problem coming out of the game. There doesn't seem to be much movement as far as that's concerned. And yeah, when we're getting into week 2 and maybe even week 3 of the preseason, that might be a problem. That has the Duval Dive with a little bit of worry, a little bit of angst, a little bit of lemon booty. So we're gonna
Yeah.
see where if they can kind of get this right in these next 3 weeks before this season kicks off, because it's getting here, and whether these guys are injured or not, Carolina Panthers, they coming, and hopefully you're ready to not shoot yourselves in the foot and actually take the bull by the horns and win that game. So
yeah,
we'll see.
I mean, when 25% of your flags were on your opening offensive drive, including the first bleeding play of the game, I can see why people get worried.
Yeah, man, that's rough. That's it though. You're not wrong though. So
Butterflies
overall, I mean,
butterflies are a thing.
Yeah, so those were our 5 takeaways, our 5 observations, and the 5 things that we wanted to know about, that we questioned going into the game. And we don't have answers for some of those things. We hope to have better answers, heading into this second week. And if you believe what the fact that the Jaguars had a really physical training camp on Tuesday, and they also had have a scrimmage on Thursday scheduled, you probably aren't going to see as many starters. I don't know if you're going to see any of them, but so you have to believe that you're going to be seeing a lot of more depth guys this upcoming week, and hopefully those guys are going to be on top of it, as far as their P's and Q's, as far as the flags, as far as the drops and all of that, because overall that starting group did not have the greatest game against Pittsburgh. So I'm hoping to see a little bit better on Thursday also, and we'll have you covered at bigcatcountry.com with that also, sir.
Yeah, by the way, I'm glad they spell it different, because all the different times you said believe, I was wondering if I had to throw a bell on that. I don't know. It's confusing.
Oh, Lord. So we told you guys that, I mean, there's obviously questions, there's concerns about the Jaguars defense. If you watch the opening drive, it was way too easy.
Not great, Bob.
The Pittsburgh Steelers had 23 people rested, including the starting cornerback Joey Porter Jr. You got your starting, I believe, of top 2 linebackers sitting. Your starting best defensive tackle, TJ Watt, is sitting. Also, like across the board. And you have all these guys, Aaron Rodgers, DK Metcalf, etc. All these guys sitting. And they march right down the field and they target your top cornerback in Tyson Campbell 3 out of those 4 plays. And you could even argue that it was 4 out of the 4 plays if you count the run game. And I could tell you all of these things. I told you all these things on Big Cat Country We Watch, but maybe we can just show you guys a little bit more than I can tell you. So
don't tell. Here we go.
So let's get into it, man. On the first play of the game, you have a max protection situation with the Jaguars. 2 receiver route, 4 guys in coverage, and they go right at your starting cornerback, Tyson Campbell. Like, and you can't blame the defensive tackles. I mean, they got more guys blocking than they have, able to even rush the quarterback. Devin Lloyd puts a little bit of pressure off the max protection look. At the end of the day, the secondary has to cover, and there's no other way of saying that. Like, again, I have no other issues with this play other than the fact that Tyson Campbell's not able to make that play. And yeah, I mean, that's pretty much it. They called a penalty on Jarian Jones also, so that I thought was questionable as far as that piece is concerned. But Tyson's got to make that play, and we'll keep going through it. Then you have the 3rd and 2, and you have both cornerbacks, not just Tyson Campbell, both Jarian Jones at the top of your screen and Tyson Campbell at the bottom of your screen are both 8 yards off the receiver on 3rd and 2. And I spoke to Coach Campanelli after Tuesday's practice, and he basically said that he has, hey, we have a younger guys out there, and we have to have better situational awareness. Mm-hmm. And I want to be honest with you guys. I didn't say it, but I definitely thought out loud, like, wait, young guys, who are we talking about? Are we talking about Jarian?
Well, Jarian is a guy. Let's be real.
I mean, yeah, sure, but the play didn't go to Jarian. The play went to Tyson Campbell at the bottom, and that's a 5th-year vet who's your top corner, who was, a reasonably paid guy.
That is a franchise corner. Can we call it?
That is a franchise corner. That's not a young guy, so I'm a little bit lost on that. But nevertheless, we're 8 yards off at the top and the bottom. That didn't feel like situational awareness, unless you're just saying that these guys are bailing for some reason. Maybe that's it. But nevertheless, we just give up 3 yards there at the top and the bottom. They just happened to go to Tyson's side. They could have went to Jarian's side, and it would have been equally a first down. Like,
right.
But I know they said they didn't want to show much in this game, and they wanted to be a little bit more vanilla. But I still had issues, even though Coach Campanelli said that the team did well in the run. They did, but also did they? like this is a weird one because they had only the 2 rushes. But if you look right now at this play, you have Devin Lloyd on the right, you have Eric Murray on the right, who's up in the box, and you have Tyson Campbell also. But I feel bad for Devin Lloyd. I do. Because Devin Lloyd right now has no idea who he can trust as far as how he can play off of his guys. He has his responsibility. Eric Murray has his responsibility, and your force player right now is Tyson Campbell as the outside corner. His job is to push everything back inside. That is his job. And Tyson Campbell, for fill in the blank reason, jumps inside.
Oh, he thought he saw the gap and he realized he was trapped. He forgot that his assignment is outside.
And meanwhile, you have Eric Murray who actually shoots that gap. And you have Devin Lloyd who just doesn't make a decision. So he's just floating. He's just floating. He's the only one that doesn't shoot a gap, doesn't get outside, doesn't do anything. And they're fortunate that that Eric Murray is able to get that shoestring tackle. That's a touchdown.
Well, and it should have been a TFL if Campbell stays outside, to your point.
Correct. So Coach Anthony Campanelli talked about the fact that they got them with tempo on that first drive, but honestly, the only play that I saw them get them with tempo was this one when the team couldn't get set up. So they're walking around, they're talking, they're figuring it out, and the ball snapped. And now you got Josh Hines-Allen in coverage, you got Devin Lloyd in coverage, and no one's around this guy. When you technically speaking have 3 guys that can cover 1 receiver, and he catches the first down with 4 yards around him.
Right.
So when I said that I had feelings about the run game and everything else, this is another missed tackle, like another missed assignment, I should say, bad play for Tyson Campbell, where he misses the tackle on the running back one-on-one, Caleb Johnson. And if you're going to give, Travis Hunter that same smoke for missing this one tackle, then that's a tackle for a loss that Tyson Campbell misses. Meanwhile, you have Devin Lloyd jumping out of the way of contact on the same play. And I'm like, wait, that's weird. Like, so you look at Devin Lloyd, he goes away from the run. He in the opposite direction. So I'm like, okay, so you have your linebacker who's blocked. Foye Oluwakon's blocked by 2 guys. Tyson Campbell comes untouched and has to make that play. And Devin Lloyd's going the opposite way. Instead of thudding the guy up, he's going away from the contact. I don't like any of that. Like,
I do like that Foye was respected to get a double T, but go ahead.
And then we asked Coach Anthony Campanelli about the touchdown play to Darnell Washington, the Steelers tight end. And he basically stated that it was a missed assignment. And now you have to presume that this is what it looks like, a 3-high coverage, that this is cover 3 for the Jaguars. All right, cool. If this is cover 3, then the linebacker, Foye Oluwakon, who's the Mike at this point, he has to push or basically help the corner out and get the tight end, get Darnell Washington, make him make a wide release, kind of push him towards Tyson Campbell, because Tyson Campbell has 2 receivers in his zone. He has to take both tight end at the bottom and the tight end at the top. Meanwhile, you have Eric Murray in the middle of the screen here. And who is at the point he has to split the difference between both of these receivers, but he never breaks on the ball until the ball is literally almost in the end zone. Like, he's on the opposite hash. I don't know where the safety play is at that point. Like, it's going to be hard for Tyson Campbell to make that play, but the quarterback, Mason Rudolph, does not even look to the right ever in this play. He stares down Darnell Washington to the left the entire play. Look at it. The entire play is Darnell Washington and nothing but Darnell Washington.
Change. Well, and it did go.
Eric Murray is nowhere to be found.
It did,
and that's where I'm like,
that was nearly a. I'll grant that was a good ball by Rudolph in that instance, but
right. I don't want to give Foye too much smoke, because honestly, that was a solid drop. Like, Foye maybe could have dropped back another yard or 2. Because
I'm not giving him smoke. He almost patted it down, is what I'm saying.
Yeah. Like, Foye had no underneath threat, so he technically speaking could have gotten a few yards back, maybe 1 or 2 more yards back, and would have gotten a hand on it. But overall, that's asking for perfection. Sometimes the offense does win. Like, those guys get paid too. But at the end of the day, Foye's got to get a hand on Darnell Washington, help his corner out a little bit. But most importantly on this play, Eric Murray's got to get over the top, man. Like, he has to be able to get in the middle field, read that quarterback's eyes, and believe what he sees and break on that ball and help Tyson Campbell make a play on that. And Tyson Campbell's got to do his best to get the ball out. But that was a rough one for me, because again, I can say that felt like the Pittsburgh Steelers were just targeting Tyson Campbell, and that don't feel good. And then he's injured now, and that don't feel great either, because of his history with injuries. 4 of the last what was it, 4 of the last 5 years, not finishing the full season. So, I mean, that's also problematic. You want to see him play the dominant thing that he's looked like in all the training camp practices, and we just didn't see it on Saturday. So I didn't know if you had any other takeaways from that, but I thought it was just like, dude, that's not what you want to see from your Jaguar starting defense. But yeah, I was happy to see that Travis Hunter was able to play on both sides of the field. So if you want to get into that, or you want to take a station break.
Well, I think we could take the break. I do have one more thing I would mention. You'll hear it during the break.
Oh, I got you. Then cool. Let's figure it out then.
But you got to remember, when you're analyzing preseason games, it's difficult to learn a completely new set of offenses or defenses or whatever it is you're doing with new coaches on an NFL team. But not quite as hard as trying to find great candidates to hire for your organization who you have too many resumes, not enough candidates with the right skills or experience. But not with ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter finds amazing candidates for you fast. And right now you can try it for free at ZipRecruiter.com/audio.
And if you want the best candidates on the market, and we know you do, hey, you got to use ZipRecruiter's smart technology. It identifies the top talent for your roles quickly, like immediately after you put the job on the market. Immediately you're using their powerful matching technology, and it's going to show you the best qualified people on the market. So you got to take a look at it.
And ZipRecruiter lets you connect with those candidates ASAP. They have their invite to apply feature, which allows you to personally message and reach out to your favorite candidates to encourage them to apply sooner.
So ditch the other hiring sites and let ZipRecruiter find what you're looking for. That needle in a haystack. 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. And you can try it for free at this exclusive web address, ZipRecruiter.com/audio. Again, that's ZipRecruiter.com/audio. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire.
So that's the point I was making in the first place, Travis. Learning these new systems with Eric Murray having his struggles, being on the opposite hash, you feel like that's a thing there that could be part of it. I know he's a veteran, but it is a new system. It's preseason for everybody, baby. So I do allow for that element still. I still feel like I said, like we said this past weekend, that 8 penalties is just a bit too many.
And when you have 8 penalties and then you have 4 drops on the offense, that's not winning football. I don't care how you want to slice it, man. But the only saving grace is the fact that most of those drops and few of those penalties, at least, weren't your starting guys or the guys that you expect to make the biggest contribution. So that's your saving grace there a little bit. But overall, you still have the things that they got to get cleaned up. Like, you cannot have this be a consistent issue. And again, we talked about the fact that the Tampa Bay Buccaneers did struggle with penalties in their 2024 training camp. So maybe, fingers crossed, this is just something that's going to happen with learning this offense, both the quarterback and the receivers, all the O-linemen, all these moving pieces. And you're just going to get it right a few weeks into the season or late into the preseason. So that's the hope. But I understand that Duval Dive has been through a lot of things. They've seen, they know a thing or two, so they've seen a thing or two, and maybe they just like, I'm not in that hope feeling right now, and I understand that too.
See, the whole thing is this dude over here with this dang, what's it called? This team makes me drink shirt is going to talk to me about hope. I think that's interesting. I do.
I get it, man. I get it. I'm not here to sell people hope. I'm just here to try to tell them what the film says. So if we talking about what the film says, then let's get into some Travis Hunter talk.
Oh boy, show don't tell. This is so great.
Yeah. So your boy Travis Hunter had himself a really good game. But if we're talking on the defensive side of the ball, he had this missed tackle, and it was just a missed tackle. It wasn't a stiff arm. And that's fine. That's going to happen. I'm not going to slam the kid because he missed the dang tackle. And if you see from the back angle, you will tell that no, this wasn't a stiff arm. The guy touched him, sure, but he had his ankle. He didn't bring him down. It's going to happen. But overall, he had his multiple catches on offense, and he had the one catch that was brought back for a penalty, which the penalty that I would argue was a bad call by the ref. But if you're talking in coverage, man, he and Devin Lloyd are the reason that this interception from Dwan Smoot happens. And he trusts his instincts. And I thought that was a crazy play because if Mason Rudolph actually had an arm, Hunter leaves this guy running wide open. He didn't care. He's just like, I'm going to jump that crosser route and leave my guy. And I trust that Mason Rudolph is not going to be able to throw this ball 40, 50 yards in the air and beat Dewey Wingert to their corner. So he just leaves this guy and just says, I'm going to go for this interception here. And Mason Rudolph holds the ball, pump fakes it, get that Dewan Smoot sack. So that's what I thought was he's trusting his instincts because we know he has the ball skills, but that's what people don't talk about, his instincts, just knowing where the ball is likely going to go from the play scheme, those types of things. But no one was really talking about that slant that he got beat off because he didn't put his hands on the receiver. I thought that was a rough rep, but he was fortunate that the quarterback went the opposite direction and they got the stop. But overall, like he had a solid game. It is just supposed to going to give him those extra eyes because his name's Travis Hunter, and we kind of know what that is. I mean, he's bringing extra eyes to Jacksonville, and that's critical eyes, that's hating eyes, and eyes that love him. That's kind of what it is.
Carlos throws it in. Can't believe how much that got played by Hunter haters. Carlos Reyes, I would remind you, my good friend, which first of all, thank you again for all your awesome commenting. I would also remind everybody the trouble with haters, my friend. They are, in fact, going to hate. So, yeah, I'm with you on that, too. Travis Hunter having a night that's so good, you got to make fun of me about Dwayne Smoot. That's a win.
I mean, that's fair. Dwayne Smoot, man. I'm high on him, and I'm just questionable whether or not he's going to be able to kind of continue showing it. Because if he does, and they keep and especially if you have guys like Eric Armstead and Mason Smith, that's not 100%. Dwayne Smoot's ability to kick inside ever so often, especially on those passing downs, is going to definitely lock him in as far as being your edge 3-4. Whatever you want to call it, between he and Emmanuel Agba. So I'm here for it. I just want to see one of those younger guys kind of step up also, because I think the Jaguars are never going to have enough pass rushers, whether it's at edge or whether it's at defensive tackle, because they need all the help they can get, as we already saw in that first week of the season. I'm not going to go crazy about it, but also I think they know that they didn't put the product on the field, on the film that they would have preferred to have out there.
Tore up by Mason Rudolph is enough to be worried about what you're doing. I'll leave it at
that. Yeah. But again, the second group did force a punt. The third group did force a punt, and they were solid in the run game. But we are if there's
Travis Hunter on the field, by the way, let's not forget
with Travis Hunter on the field, and you can make the argument also back-to-back punts with Dewey Wingert on the field.
There you go. That's an accurate statement. You're not wrong, Travis Holmes. That's way better than your Luke Booker thing from a couple of years.
These are all factual statements, man. All right, man. But that's what it is, man. So overall, we will have you guys covered on Friday's Duval Dive to talk about things that we hope to see from this New Orleans matchup. So we can kind of get this thing, figured out, but also kind of keep you guys locked in. So again, I told you my expectation that the starters likely won't play, but I am still curious about whether guys like Travis Hunter is going to play, because while he is a starter on offense, he is a backup or maybe even second to third string, depending on how they want to use him, cornerback on the defensive side of the ball. So does that mean that he gets snaps on the defensive side of the ball? I don't know, but I think it's going to be kind of interesting and curious, and maybe we'll get an answer from Coach, either Coach Campanelli or Coach Cohen or after Thursday's practice. So we shall see there.
I'm going to throw this in here too, Travis. You make the point about him being an offensive starter, and that's fine. I'm wondering if they're wanting Live Fire to be the place where he learns the defense more. Perhaps there's a theory or thought out there amongst the coaching staff that the place for him to get that better opportunity, if you will, is in fact the Live Fire of preseason games, perhaps. I don't know. I'm not in his ear, but I'm just throwing it out as a possibility.
No, maybe we shall see, because again, it depends on how they view him. Again, they're light at cornerback right now. You got Monteric Brown, who's injured. You got Tyson Campbell, who's currently injured. And then you have the two other guys. I mean, Zachariah McPherson was placed on IR earlier today. You have Levi Wallace, who was already placed on IR, and then they had to re-sign goodness gracious, White. So again, you have multiple guys who have been in and out of that lineup already, both in the front end and the depth piece. So overall, you might want to have Travis Hunter get more reps, because you may need Travis Hunter to get more reps when the season comes. So I understand the argument on all sides of this, even though Travis Hunter is that guy, and you probably don't want to risk him getting injured also. So I get both sides of it. So however they decide, it's going to be interesting, and there will be content to talk about no matter which way they go.
Yeah, I did. You've pulled back from you. I'm going to be pissed if they play him more than so and so.
But you knew the risk of an injury to someone like Tyson Campbell was always there, and because you knew the risk was there because of the previous years, then you kind of had to get Travis Hunter those reps because you may end up needing to lean on him a lot more than you originally planned for early on, and now that it becomes pretty evident. Even if that Tyson Campbell's day by day, it's pretty obvious right now that Tyson Campbell Travis Hunter needs to be ready for that potential Tyson Campbell injury that could happen tomorrow, the next day, whenever. And we're not even talking soft tissue injuries. Like, we're just talking just any sort of issue as far as that's concerned. So
Bingo.
Yeah, it sucks, but this is where we are.
So I think that you did a fine job of taking the temperature of things when, like we said, we'll talk more at you a bit here coming up this week about the upcoming game facing the Saints. But in the meantime, Travis, tell the world where you can be found.
Of course, you can find all my writing covering the Jaguars at bigcatcountry.com. You can find me on all the socials, Travis D. Holmes, Blue Sky, X, etc. If you want that play-by-play coverage for the Jaguar scrimmage on Thursday, then absolutely keep it locked in on either Blue Sky or on X. We will have you covered on both. And then we will have your recap here on the Duval Dive on YouTube, on Apple, Spotify, wherever you get your pods via the Believe Network, and also bigcatcountry.com. Come on, man. So lock it in. We'll have the write up for the post practice availability and also any observations that we saw from firsthand on those scenes, since it is closed to the public. But where can you be found, sir?
Of course, I'm Kyle Nash, the student of the game. You can find me on Twitter, Instagram, Threads, and Blue Sky at the SOTG. Find me as the student of the game on Facebook. Check out my writings on your Jacksonville Jaguars and the Orlando Magic on Fans First Sports Network, and also my work with Night Shift Podcast and the Black and Gold Banner at.com. My wide receiver preview just came out this week, so make sure, actually, matter of fact, it came out today as we're recording this if you're checking out the stream, and if you're listening to it, that would be Wednesday. If you're not making the regular stream, we do that on Wednesdays at 7:30, by the way, in case you forgot. One thing that can help you remember, liking and subscribing to the Duval Dive YouTube channel. There's that. But make sure you check that action out, blackandgoldbannerette.com, as well as the Night Shift Podcast and Night Shift YouTube channel there for all that. And my work with the Bolt Blitz did an instant reaction with 80 Simon's, Booga Peters' new co-host. That's a great time. Make sure you check that out. They'll be looking to do that again after that preseason game as well this weekend. So make sure you check out the Bolt Blitz with all that. That will do it. A great time. Thank you to all the Duval Divers. Thank you to my personal champion, Travis D. Holmes. Until next time, everyone. Class dismissed.